All right, you guys, today I'm going to be giving you a look inside as well as a flip through of Gentle and Classical Press's preschool curriculum. I am so excited to dive into this with my preschooler this year. You guys, it looks wonderful. It looks a little intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, but it looks wonderful and I cannot wait to turn around the camera and give you guys a look inside. If you are new here, my name is Shauna. I have 5 kids. One of them is already graduated and the others all range between 1 and 11, and I've got my hands full. So I personally like to have curriculums that come open and go and that I can, find some pockets to breathe in the midst of the chaos. So I'm hoping that that's what this curriculum will do for me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn around the camera, give you guys a look inside, and I can't wait to show you. All right, you guys, so at the time of filming, the complete bundle for the digital products as well as the physical set is $149.99. Just the digital set is $34.99 on sale. When it's no longer on sale, it is listed as $44.99. So if you're interested in this and you want to go straight digital, now is the time to buy. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a look inside first and just kind of go over what your box looks like when it comes, and then I'll go throughout some of the books and how the whole program works. So the first book is the Teacher's Guide. Next are the cards that you'll use for the memory statement board. If you scan this QR code, it leads to their website and it has a really helpful video on how to set up your memory statement board. And it even has some links to the board that she uses. Basically what it is you get a whole bunch of cards that have the different topics that you'll cover with your child. And you just cut them out and put them on your board and it's already done for you. You don't even have to worry about it. And it comes in regular print as well as bolded. Next is a getting started guide. Next is an art and music pack, and I'll give you guys a quick look inside at the end. And then everything for your morning binder. An activity and handicraft guide. This is really, really cool. I cannot wait to show you guys inside of that one. Okay, and next are all of the flashcards that you'll use throughout the year, and a lot of these will be tied into your memory statement board. And so you'll post them on the board for the week that they correspond to. And then these ones are your ABC and 1, 2, 3 flashcards. And then these are your character and catechism cards. You'll have some manners and hygiene cards as well as some math cards. Now I'm going to move on to the teacher's guide for you. All right, it is heavily encouraged to read through the teacher's guide and not just jump into the curriculum, so let's start there. So as you open it, you're going to get some lovely pages and then a table of contents. Then you'll get a notice about how this teacher's guide is broken up into part 1 and part 2. Part 1 will cover the introduction, scope and sequence, scheduling, and a detailed teacher guidance. And then part 2 is the actual curriculum content. And then you get a page telling you you're about to go into part 1. And this is a general intro page. And I love it because it goes into, regardless of everything in homeschool, the ups, the downs, everything, whether you like this curriculum or don't like the curriculum, that Jesus should be at the first and foremost in all of it. And from there, you'll cover the philosophy of the curriculum. And then there's also a reminder to not get overwhelmed by all that is offered in this program. You will also get a program overview, and this explains how the pages are set up, and then you'll get an overview of the core books that the curriculum suggests having. So here is a quick look at that because I know I like to know if I'm going to have to buy anything additional. And then you will also get a weekly book list broken up by terms. These are not books that you have to have, but they are books that are suggested that will pair with the activities of the week. And then you get some book tips. Here is a list of supplies and how this preschool set can align with some of their other programs. And then you get some quick mom tips and just an overview of the preschool bundle. Now I'm going to go back to the book tip time real quick and just give you guys a little note from the author. She does mention to use what you have available in your home. I know sometimes when you start seeing book lists and curriculum, you can easily get overwhelmed with how much money am I going to be spending, but she really stresses not to stress about the books. You know, search what you have in your home and in your library, but feel free to swap out or substitute some of the book recommendations for books that are similar that you may have or, you know, are easily to get from your library. They don't have to perfectly align with the Handicraft and activity guide. And she also says that it's more important to just make read alouds a common place in your homeschool instead of focusing on having all of the suggested books and you basically like feeling like you have to live up to this idea of perfection. So I really appreciate that note because I am the type of person that can easily just go out and buy all of these books and then be like, what did I do? Another thing that I saw from somebody else's channel who was doing a review on this curriculum is they mentioned that instead of going and buying all of these books, they go on YouTube and see if there are any video read alouds of the books that are suggested. So that's another really great option that I didn't even think about prior to hearing that. And I love that tip because, you know, it saves us money. So let's go back. So you will get a quick start sheet that goes over how to start setting everything up. There's also a link to purchase a board if you want something sturdy for your memory board that you're going to be creating. And then there are vocabulary terms that you need to know. So basically, like, what's the difference of a unit and a term and how many there are, which I already went over. And then let's dive deep. So it goes into an explanation of the memory statements that you're going to be covering weekly, and then their approach to Bible, scripture, character, and catechism, their approach to fine and gross motor skills, nursery rhymes and poetry, and then the All About Me section, manners and hygiene, and then math, art and music, and reading and literacy. And then how literacy is covered in the preschool morning binder. So it says, keeping all of this in mind, the preschool morning binder has been designed to add simplicity to each morning in your homeschool. For our letter of the week, you'll find a clean 2-page spread featuring Build It, Write It, Find It. So Build It, you'll utilize Play-Doh, blocks, toothpicks, popsicle sticks, basically like whatever manipulative you have around the house to create the letter yourself. Then your child will practice writing it and then finding it. So this is simple. It's a half-page activity that presents your child with a variety of letters and asks him or her to circle or check the letter that they are featuring. And I will show you guys those pages in a bit. Then it just goes over how to use the preschool morning binder, what your daily work will look like. So there's an All About Me sheet where they will write their name, how old they are, what they feel. I'll go into more of these when you guys can actually see it a little better. And then it has the math pages and what they will be going over. Some tips for a morning basket and some of the recommended books that they have for the core books. It just goes over like how to use them. So like Brain Gym, the Brain Gym book says, do prior activities learned and introduce the new movement. Don't feel as if you have to include every one of them. She even says don't feel like you have to include that book if you don't like new agey things in your homeschool. I don't think I'm going to be including that one. I haven't looked it up yet, but somebody did mention that that book is actually very expensive and no longer in print. I don't know if that is true, but it is definitely something to consider prior to getting that. In the review that I watched, I don't remember the girl's video or channel. If I can find it again, I will link it down below because I do feel like it was helpful. But she said that she just went on YouTube and found some activities that the same types of activities that they go over in the brain gym, she found videos to go over that for her child. And I think that that's a great idea. And again, you know, it saves some money. Then it goes over creating a rhythm versus a schedule. And then what her toddler rhythm looks like. Just to give you guys some ideas. This is nothing that you have to follow, but I do like that she gives you, you know, what works for her, and then you can glean different ideas. There is a note about narration. If you guys are familiar with Charlotte Mason, you know she's very big on narrating, and so I like that they incorporate that. And then you finally get to part 2, and this is where you will cover what to do on a daily basis. Hopefully my camera is picking that up. So I'm not going to flip through this whole thing because they are all going to look the same. It's basically just going to be a different letter and a different book for the week, as well as, you know, some different information, but it's all going to have the same information. Okay, hopefully you guys can still see it. It looks like it decided to rain outside, so there's clouds. Okay, so Unit 1, you're going to cover the last stop on Market Street, and then the letter of the week is going to be L. The motor skills that you're going to do is a cross crawl, and then the fine motor skills are going to be plucking strings. Your All About Me section is going to be my name is, and then what their first and last name is. Catechism would be who made you, and then the answer is God made me. And it says questions and answers, God and Creation, Volume 1, Track 12. The nursery rhyme that you're going to go over is Rain, Rain, Go Away. That's exactly how I feel right now. That was perfect timing. Manners and hygiene, it says it makes me feel safe to hold, and then trusted adult's hand. So, you know, who's the name of the trusted adult that makes them feel safe. Character is they're going to recite, I am patient, I put off for later what I want right now. The scripture that you'll cover is I am with you always, Matthew chapter 28, verse 20. Math, you will pair preschool math at home with this curriculum. You don't have to, but I ended up picking it up. The cheapest place I was able to find it for, besides Facebook Marketplace, was Christian Book. Right now, at the time of filming, they had it on sale for $13. I don't know how frequently they have that one on sale, but if you guys are looking for that book at the time that this video is posted, go jump on it. The next item is you'll do preschool morning binder. And so you'll do your daily work. They'll build, write, and find the letter L. They'll go over the orange and red pages. That's part of their math for this week. Their 2 colors. And then the artist study and music that they'll go over is they'll cover Vincent van Gogh. And then the art is Cafe Terrace at Night. And then you can also work in some additional items like Big Truths for Little Kids, Chapter 1, Big Thoughts for Little People, L is for Lying, poem Hello Rain, which is found on page 13. And then Handicraft and Activity Guide, you will create a guitar. And so that's what it looks like. Don't get overwhelmed by this. Remember that this is not everything that you're going to do in one day. A unit is the work that you're going to complete over the course of a week. So this is not anything to get overwhelmed by. I know that just looking at this, you could quickly get like, oh my goodness, this is a lot to do in one day, but this is not meant to be done in one day. This is meant to be done over the course of a week. And whatever you don't finish, just go on to the next week. So this is basically what 1 week looks like. Now, if you flip to the back of the book, you will also get a sample schedule. Okay, so I took my camera off of the tripod so you guys could get a closer look at the sample schedule and just have a general idea of what your entire week could look like and how you could break it down. So that is just a suggested schedule, and then you also get these pages that are blank where you could write your own schedule if you don't want to follow the sample one. And now I'm going to give you guys a look inside the Handicraft book. All right, so here's the activity and handicraft guide. And so as you open it, you get a letter to the reader. And then you get an overview of all of the supplies that you're going to need and what unit you'll need them for. I really like this layout because, like I mentioned, I would really like to spend time over the summer prepping what I can. And so if I can go and get all of these items and then throw them in a storage bag or a freezer bag and write Unit 5 on it and then just have it, you know, somewhere in my closet or in a box that I can just pull from, and it's already done, it's already ready. I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to fall behind, and then we're going to get to the week that, you know, these items are needed and life is just going to get away from me, and then we end up not doing this. So I really like that this is broken up the way that it is. It also has all of the books, again, that you are going to need for all 3 terms. Let me put a little closer. It's getting a little stuck on the tripod, but hopefully you guys can see it pretty well. So here's a list of all of the recommended books for the 3 terms. But remember, you don't have to have all of these. You can have similar books, you can substitute, so don't feel pressure of having to go and buy all of them. Okay, and now it's just a continuation for the rest of the units. So this is what a week is going to look like. Again, you get another sample schedule on this side. And I'm not going to flip through the whole book because it's literally just going to be the same thing, but for different weeks, for different books. If you guys do want a video like that, let me know and I'll put together another one. But I want to talk about these items for a second. So each week you'll have the book and the letter that you're going to go over. And then you get a big picture section. So it says in Unit 1, as we read Last Stop on Market Street, we will be learning about what it means to listen well, enjoy our surroundings, and love others sacrificially. In this initial unit, we will make sure our little ones begin to truly identify many important attributes about themselves. Can they say their name correctly? If they are in the 3 to 4-year-old range, can they spell it? Do they know who made them uniquely and who is with them always? We will be exercising our gross and fine motor skills by developing rhythm via clapping and plucking our homemade guitar, inspired by the musician on board the bus en route to the soup kitchen. And then next, you get a heart check, which is so nice for us as mothers. And so it says, as mothers with so many hats, teacher, wife, encourager, friend, daughter, sister, counselor, community member, leader, we can sometimes allow the volume of our many important pressing obligations to drown out the truth behind what we are doing in home education. We are stewarding souls. In this portion, each unit, I will share some considerations to keep freshly on the cuff of your heart so that we can remember that this is holy ground, not a task list to be completed, and certainly not simply an image to be curated. I love this section, and I love that they do it every single week. One of the hardest jobs, I think it's just so cliche at this point because so many people say it, but one of the hardest jobs in the whole world is to be a mom. But especially a homeschool mom, because you're taking on even more responsibility. And so I really love that she gives the reminder that this is holy ground. And I think in the mundaneness of life, it is so easy to forget that. But it is such an important thing to keep at the forefront of our minds, that this is the work that the Lord has called us to. And this is not to be taken lightly. And it is also not meant to break us. So I really love that encouragement. Okay, and the next is connect. So as you read this week's story and reflect, here are a few topics to consider discussing with your little ones. And then it goes on to give you different discussion questions, which I really like that, it's just done for you. And that's nice, especially, if it's been like a hard night with the baby or it's just a rough day, you don't have to think of anything. It's just there. Okay, so this is the craft that pairs with the story from the book, and then this is also what you'll focus on for the week. So here's a list of the supplies, and then they give you step-by-step photos on how to complete the craft. All right, and then I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. So this is the craft for the week that pairs with the story, as well as the fine and gross motor skills that your child is going to be going over. And so you get a list of supplies, and then what's really nice is you get a step-by-step instruction on how to complete the craft. So I love that they offer that, just so, if you have an older kid who's helping your preschooler complete this book, they can easily follow pictures with some very short directions. And I think that that's valuable. And then it goes on to giving you tips about how to do the craft, and then some additional activities that can tie into the topic of the week. So like, for instance, look for and point out all the letter L's you can find through the story and throughout the week. Count them. And then serve as a family. I love that CJ and Nana have a tradition of serving their community together. It convicted me of being more faithful to involve my children in service opportunities. So there's some different activities to work in if you want to do a little bit more than just the craft. And then it goes on to some additional books that you can work in that go over the letter L. And then some alphabet focused books, as well as some additional books. And then since this week is going over the colors red and orange, it gives you a fun Play-Doh activity that you can do with your child. And then literacy, it just reminds you to do the build it, write it, and find it activities with your child to go over the letter L. And then from there, it goes into Unit 2. Now at the very back of the Handicraft book, you get an appendix that has some blank schedule sheets that you can either write on or make photocopies of until you can kind of nab down the perfect schedule that is working for you. And then this is also where you will find the templates for some of the activities that you'll be doing throughout the course of the year. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a look inside the preschool morning binder sheets now. I have not put it together yet, so don't judge. Okay, so this is kind of just an overview of your units, and then the letter that you're going to go over for each, and then the math items that you're going to go over, and then how you're going to incorporate preschool math at home within the unit. So, chapter 1, you're going to do counting to 5 for week 1. By the time you get to chapter 13 or unit 13, you're going to go over chapter 3, 5, numbers 1 through 10. And then basically by the time you get to the very last unit, you're going to be going over Z, you're going to add and subtract number 2, and then you're going to go over chapter 7 or finish going over chapter 7 in the preschool math at home book. So this is basically just more information on using the morning binder. You will want to get some base 10 blocks that you can easily find on Amazon. I'll link some down below in the description bar in case you wanted to add some in. But let me flip through this real quick. Okay, so this is what they're going to do every week. They're going to have an All About Me page, and they're going to write their name, and then it says I am, and then they can trace 2, 3, 4, or 5, and then they'll go over their emotions that they're currently feeling. And then they will have I know what today is, so then they'll fill in the dot of whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on, and then what month it is, then what day of the month it is, and then they will actually write and build the day of the month. So they'll write out the whole month, and then they'll use their base 10 blocks to formulate, what day of the month it is. And then it says, at my home it is, and then they can go over the weather and circle the appropriate picture. What season is it, and what is the temperature? And then from there, they will get their alphabet sheets. So this is where they can use Play-Doh, toothpicks, any manipulative that you have to build the letter A. And then they will trace the letter A. And then this is where they will find it. So they'll circle all of the A's that they find within the photo. And then it continues from there for every letter of the alphabet. And towards the end, they will have shapes that they will go over and some tracing activities for the different shapes. They will also have some color activities, so they'll trace the word blue, and then it says circle all of the items that have blue on them, and they'll go through the pictures and circle the appropriate ones. And they have this for all of the colors. And then they'll have some fun activities. So this says circle all of the items that have and then choose any color to review on them. So you'll pick a color and they'll circle them. And then they have their numbers. So they'll trace the number 1. And then this one says using a dry erase marker, crayon, or small manipulative, fill in the correct number of circles on the 10 frame. And then down here, they have a matching activity. So the number 2 would be, you know, a line drawn over there, 3, 1, you guys get the picture. And they have that for all numbers up to the number 10. Sorry, I'm trying to show you guys, but with it not being in a binder, it's a little hard. And then they have some counting and writing activities. So they'll count the number of birds in the picture and then write the number down here. Same for the next couple of pages. And then they'll have some addition and subtraction problems. So they have, you know, a picture of 2 badgers and then minus or plus 1 pig, and then they write the number that would be. And then this is a fun activity, and it says use the fish on the following pages to place into the pond and count. These pages correlate to lessons 6.3, 6.4, and 7.4. And why can I not flip this page to show you guys the fish? Okay, and then you get a 5 frame. This is going to be used throughout the preschool math at home book, and it is recommended to laminate this page. In all honesty, I'm going to laminate these fish just because, you know, little hands, they grab things, you guys. So just laminate everything. Again, you'll get a 10 frame to also use in the preschool math at home book, and then a double 10 frame, and then some additional about me pages for your child to continue using. I would honestly make photocopies of this before the year even starts. Alright, so that is the end of the review. Have you guys used this? If you have, let me know down below what your thoughts were and your feelings, if you liked it, if you didn't, just anything and everything. Any prepping tips would be so very helpful. I'm currently deep diving here on YouTube to see how people are prepping this and just making their lives easier as you go throughout the year. If you guys are not new and you've been around here for a little bit, you know that one of my big downfalls this year, and I honestly feel like the last couple of years, is not prepping all that I can throughout the summer. And then when the year gets crazy and burnout eventually hits, because it always does, I tend to just, you know, just like throw it all in the trash. Like, not literally, but you know, like it just all goes out, all good intentions go out the window. So I want to prep this so I can do it justice this year. I'm really excited. I love all of the different components, and I love that everything is done for you. There's not like a million things to go out and buy and add in and all of the things. So I am very excited about this. I probably will do a prep with me video for you guys, just to show you how I'm prepping it, and hopefully to give you guys some additional ideas if you choose to work this into your homeschool. Let me know down below what you're using for your preschooler. I always love getting ideas. You guys always have the best ideas. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button, and I will see you again later. Bye.